A mysterious star in the ancient sky, influential men from the East who defied a king, and a journey that would change the course of history. This is the untold story of the Magi, and everything we got wrong about them. Christmas is a time of familiar traditions. Every December, millions of nativity scenes tell the same story. 3 kings in royal robes kneel beside a manger, offering gifts to the newborn Jesus. This image has been etched into our minds since childhood, painted by the greatest artists, and sung in countless carols. But beneath these cherished traditions lies a different truth, far more extraordinary than the legend we've been told. Combining ancient texts, historical records, and the biblical account in Matthew's Gospel reveals a story of power, prophecy, and defiance. This tale is one in which even the smallest details hide secrets that have been overlooked for centuries. These are the mysteries behind the story we know as the 3 wise men. It begins with a centuries-old prophecy waiting to be unveiled in the stars above ancient Persia. Mystery number 1. The 3 Kings. Centuries before this story begins, the prophet Balaam declared a vision. "I see him, but not now. I behold him, but not near. A star will come out of Jacob. A scepter will rise out of Israel." This ancient prophecy would set the stage for one of history's most incredible journeys. We find something intriguing when we turn to Matthew's Gospel, the only biblical account of this event. The text states, "Now, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea, in the days of Herod the king, behold, Magi from the east came to Jerusalem." The scripture gives us no specific number, no names, no royal titles, just Magi, plural, from the east. Historical records and ancient traditions tell us of grand caravans, powerful delegations that traveled with guards, servants, and supplies. These weren't solitary travelers crossing the desert alone, but a significant expedition that would have caught every kingdom's attention. But if these weren't the 3 kings of tradition, who were they? Mystery number 2. The names behind the legend. While scripture never names these mysterious visitors, traditions across different cultures have given them identities that have persisted for centuries. In Western Christian tradition, they became known as Melchior, Caspar, and Balthazar, names first appearing in a Greek manuscript from Alexandria dating to the 6th century. According to these traditions, Melchior is portrayed as an elderly man with white hair who bears gold. Caspar is young and beardless, bringing frankincense. Balthazar is middle-aged with a dark beard, offering myrrh. Different regions assign them different origins: Persia, India, and Arabia, or sometimes Babylon, Ethiopia, and Tarsus. These traditions spread through medieval art and literature, becoming so deeply embedded in Christian culture that many assumed they were biblical facts. While cherished in tradition, these names and descriptions appear nowhere in Scripture. They remind us how human imagination often fills the gaps that Scripture leaves open, creating legends that can sometimes overshadow the biblical account itself. So, who were these mysterious visitors? Mystery number 3. Their true identity. The Scripture introduces these visitors with a specific term: Magi from the East. When they arrived in Jerusalem, they asked, "Where is he who has been born King of the Jews? We saw his star when it rose and have come to worship him." The word Magi reveals something fascinating about their identity. These were not ordinary travelers, but members of an ancient order of scholars, experts in astronomy, sacred texts, and royal council. Their influence was so great that their questions stirred the entire city when they arrived in Jerusalem. Scripture tells us, "When Herod the king heard this, he was troubled, and all Jerusalem with him." Their knowledge of ancient prophecies was evident. When Herod gathered the chief priests and scribes to ask where Christ was to be born, they quoted the prophet Micah, "And you, O Bethlehem, in the land of Judah, are by no means least among the rulers of Judah, for from you shall come a ruler who will shepherd my people Israel." Mystery number 4. The Star. What celestial wonder could be so extraordinary that it would compel these master astronomers to leave their homeland? The scripture tells us, "And behold, the star that they had seen when it rose went before them, until it came to rest over the place where the child was. When they saw the star, they rejoiced exceedingly with great joy. Throughout history, scholars have proposed several possibilities. Halley's Comet, which blazed across the sky around 12 BC. A spectacular supernova recorded in ancient Chinese texts. Or even a nova, a stellar explosion creating what appeared to be a new star. But modern astronomers have discovered something remarkable. During this period, Jupiter and Saturn aligned 3 times in the constellation of Pisces, an event so rare that it occurred only once every 900 years. To these ancient scholars, this wasn't mere coincidence. Jupiter was considered the king's planet, Saturn represented the Jewish people, and their meeting in Pisces held special significance. Whatever this celestial phenomenon was, Scripture tells us it wasn't a single night's wonder. It continued to guide these learned men throughout their extraordinary journey. This extended journey reveals another surprising truth about when these mysterious visitors arrived. Mystery number 5, the timeline. The biblical account reveals something surprising about when these Magi arrived. Scripture tells us, "And going into the house, they saw the child with Mary, his mother, and they fell down and worshipped him." Notice carefully. They entered a house, not a stable. The timeline becomes even clearer when we read what happened next. After the Magi departed, Herod became furious, and he sent and killed all the male children in Bethlehem and in all that region who were 2 years old or under, according to the time that he had ascertained from the wise men. This wasn't a quick journey to Bethlehem. It was a months-long expedition that arrived when Jesus was likely no longer a newborn. Mystery number 6, the gift significance. Scripture records their offerings precisely. Then, opening their treasures, they offered him gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh. These weren't random precious items, but gifts laden with prophetic significance. Gold, a gift worthy of a king. Frankincense, used in temple worship, acknowledging divine presence. Myrrh, an aromatic resin used in burial, foreshadowing sacrifice. These gifts would serve a divine purpose. Soon after their departure, an angel would warn Joseph, "Rise, take the child and his mother, and flee to Egypt and remain there until I tell you." The valuable gifts would provide for their journey and exile. Mystery number 7, the historical impact. The Magi's journey didn't end with their offerings. Scripture tells us, "And being warned in a dream not to return to Herod, they departed to their own country by another way." Their act of defiance against Herod would have profound consequences. Their story, briefly told in Scripture, has captured imaginations for 2 millennia. These seekers of truth, following divine guidance through the stars and Scriptures, remind us that wisdom and faith aren't opposed but often lead to the same truth. The Magi's defiance of King Herod was just the beginning of an even darker chapter in the Christmas story. If you want to discover what happened after these mysterious figures outsmarted one of history's most dangerous kings, click here to watch our video about Herod's terror. You'll uncover the chilling aftermath of their decision and understand just how much was at stake in this pivotal moment of biblical history.